Hello students, in this session we will be discussing all the practical questions related with our first point, that is when we have debit balance or known as favorable balance as per cash book. Now in our previous session we have seen there are 4 ways to start a bank reconciliation statement, and today in this session we will be focusing on the first option or first method, that is when we take debit balance as per cash book. Okay, now let us see the first question, that is illustration number 1. Now on 31st March 2020, the bank balance as per Rajesh Chauhan's cash book was 17,280 debit. Means on the last date of this financial year, we have Mr. Rajesh Chauhan's cash book and it is showing debit balance of 17,280. Now this is our first cue or first step to start our bank reconciliation statement. Then on comparing the cash book with passbook, following differences were found. Now there are some points given to us which were the main reasons for difference between cash book and passbook, and we have to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. So now let us see the format of our bank reconciliation statement. Now this is the format of bank reconciliation statement. Since we are preparing it at the last date of financial year, we will write bank reconciliation statement as on 31st March 2020. Now this information will be given to you in the question. Okay, so you have to write according to it. Now this is the format of bank reconciliation statement. In first column we have particulars, then plus items, and then minus items. Now since the question has clearly mentioned that cash book is showing debit balance of 17,280, we will write debit balance as per cash book, and since debit balance is nothing but plus, so we will write in plus item 17,280. Now let us see the next transaction, that is point number 1. Checks for 8,400 sent for collection have not been cleared by the bank so far. That means check worth rupees 8,400 was sent to bank for collection. That means we have already entered in our cash book, but so far we have not received any actual cash in our bank account. That means our passbook is showing less amount of money as compared to cash book. So since we have taken debit balance as per cash book at the starting, we can alter cash book's balance, cash book's amount. Okay, since we have 8,400 more in our cash book, we can simply deduct this 8,400. So when deduct means we have to write in the less item. Okay, now after writing debit balance or as per cash book, you can write add. After putting colon, you can just semicolon, you can just leave some space, okay, for writing plus minus for writing plus items. In the starting we don't know how many items we will have in plus side. Okay, so you can just leave some space and you can write less. You put a colon and then you write point number 1. Check sent for collection but not yet cleared, means we haven't received actual cash in our bank account, and that is the reason our passbook will be showing less amount of money. So to equate both cash book and passbook, we can just deduct from our cash book, and deducting means to write in the minus item. Then next, another way is that you can just read these sentences and you can write plus minus on the side of this transaction, so that at the last you can easily prepare your bank reconciliation statement. Now let us do that method. Okay, now we know that this will come in the minus column. Okay, now checks issued but not yet presented for payment. That means we issued some check to someone. Okay, suppose Mr. X, we issued check to him, then he didn't presented it for payment yet. Means we issued one check rupees 5,600 and made payment to the person. Okay, but that person hasn't collected this amount from our bank. That means in our cash book we will be showing that we have paid 5,600, but in the passbook it is not showing that we have made payment of 5,600. That means our passbook is showing more amount than our cash book. So in order to equate both cash book and passbook, what we will do is that we will add 5,600. Okay, previously which we had deducted as payment showing in our cash book, we can just simply add this 5,600 in that, and our passbook and cash book will be equal, so it will come in the plus item. Okay, then the third one we have, there is a debit of rupees 80 in the passbook for bank charges. That means in passbook it is showing that 80 was deducted from our bank account as bank charges, but we didn't record it in cash book. That means our passbook is showing 80 rupees less than our cash book. So since we cannot alter passbook's balance, we will just deduct 80 from our cash book, so we will write it in the minus item. Okay, then next, bank has credited 240 for interest in the passbook, but these are also not recorded in the cash book. Now credited for 240 means bank has given us 240 as interest in our bank account. That was recorded in passbook, but we didn't record it in cash book. That means our passbook is showing 240 more than our cash book. So in order to equate our cash book and passbook, we will simply deduct this we will simply add this 240 in our cash book. Okay, when we increase 240 in our cash book, we will have equal passbook and cash book balance. Then next we have a customer deposited 2,000 direct in the bank, but these were recorded only in passbook. That means we received 2,000, but it was only recorded in passbook, not in cash book. So when we add this 2,000 in our cash book and passbook balance will be equal. So this 2,000 will come in the plus item. Okay, then next, according to standard orders of Rajesh Chauhan, the bank has made the following payments by debiting his account. Means Rajesh Chauhan, he already gave order to his bank to pay club fees rupees 500, life insurance premium 2,500. Okay, since the bank already paid this 500 and 2,500, it was recorded in passbook. Okay, but it was not recorded in cash book. That means our cash book is showing 3,000 more than passbook. So what we will do is that we will simply deduct these two items from our cash balance, or we can just write these two in our minus item, and then we will have passbook balance and cash book balance as equal. Okay, now they have asked us to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. Now let us see, after adding and deduct means after putting in plus and minus items, what we have. Okay, now let us see. In plus items we have in plus side we have point number 2, 5,600. Let us see whether it is correct or not. 5,600 in the plus item here. This particulars you can just write exact given in the question. Okay, then next plus item we have this one, point number 4, 240. Now let us see 240. The next plus item we have this one, customer deposited 2,000 and amount is 2,000 here, 2,000. Now do we have any other plus items? No, only 3 items. Okay, now let us see the minus items. First we have 8,400, so 8,400. Then next we have this point number 3, rupees 80. Sorry, rupees 80 here, rupees 80. Then next minus item we have this one, club fees and life insurance premium. So amount paid by bank on standing orders, club fees 500 and life insurance premium rupees 2,500. Now after writing all the items in plus and minus column, what we will do is that we will find out total of these plus items. So 17,280 plus 5,600 plus 240 plus 2,000 is 25,120, and in minus items we have 8,400 plus 80 plus 500 plus 2,500, we have 11,480. Now since we can see that plus items is more plus amount is more than minus items, so that means it will show opposite of this debit balance as per cash book. Okay, so opposite is nothing but credit balance as per cash book. Opposite of this will become as per passbook. Okay, remember this will happen only when we have plus amount more than minus item. Okay, when minus item is more than plus item, we will see that also, but as of now you saw that when we have plus amount more than minus, we will write opposite of debit balance as per cash book, that is credit balance as per passbook. Okay, now the difference we have to find out after drawing two parallel lines. Okay, that means we have closed down the account and the difference is 13,640. Okay, now this is how you are supposed to prepare bank reconciliation statement. Now it seems easy, but until and unless you don't have clear, your concept isn't clear, means like in which column we are supposed to write which item, you will get confused. So it's better you try to understand the points that we have discussed in previous session, and then after clearly analyzing all the transactions given in your question, you will be easily able to understand or identify which item will come in the plus side and which item will come in the minus side. Okay, now let us see another illustration, that is illustration number 2. Now this is illustration number 2. We have question: prepare a bank reconciliation statement from the following particulars on 31st March 2020. Now we have debit balance as per cash book, so this one will come in the plus item. So let us write down which item will come in the plus side and which item will come in the minus side. So since this is debit balance as per cash book, it will come in the plus side. Okay, then next is checks issued to creditors but not yet presented to the bank for payment. That means we have already issued check of rupees 72,000 to our creditors and we recorded that in our cash book. Okay, that we have made payment, but the creditors, they haven't presented it to the bank and money was not actually withdrawn from our bank account. That means our passbook is showing 72,000 more than our cash book. So in that case, what we will do is that we will try to bring up the cash book's balance by 72,000, and that we can do by adding the amount. Okay, so that after adding this 72,000 in our cash book, we will have passbook and cash book's balance as equal one. Then next point is dividend received by bank. Okay, means we received some amount in our bank, received some amount as dividend in our bank account, but we have not entered in cash book, and as a result what will happen is that our cash book will show less amount. Okay, since passbook they already have recorded it, that means this our passbook will show 5,000 more than our cash book. So in order to equate, what we have to do is that we have to bring up the cash book balance. That means we have to add this 5,000. Okay, then next is interest allowed by the bank. Interest allowed by the bank means bank gave us interest. Okay, so again this means that we have received amount in our bank account but not recorded in cash book. So in order to bring up the cash book's balance, we have to add this item. Okay, then next is checks deposited into bank for collection but not collected by bank up to this date. Means we have deposited some check to the bank for collecting money from someone. Okay, but bank they haven't actually received. So in that case what will happen is that our passbook will show less amount. Okay, means when we deposit check into bank, we write in the receipt side of our cash book. That means we assume that we have already received money in our bank account, but since the bank has not collected the money from our customer or the person from whom we have received that check, our bank account will show less amount as compared to our cash book. So in that case what we will do is that we will bring down our cash book balance. Okay, and we can do that by deducting this amount. Okay, so it will come in the minus side. Now bank charges is nothing but charges taken by the bank, so it was deducted from our bank account but we haven't recorded it in cash book. As a result, our passbook will show less amount of money in comparison to our cash book. So in order to bring down the cash book's balance, we have to deduct this amount. Then next is a check deposited into bank was dishonored. Okay, we deposited one check in the bank but it was dishonored, but no intimation received, means we haven't received any information from the bank that our check was dishonored. So in that case, what happens is that our cash book will show more balance than our passbook. So what we can do is that we can just simply deduct this amount from our cash book in order to make our cash and passbooks balance equal. So this will come in the negative side. Okay, then next is bank paid house tax on our behalf, means the bank, they already paid house tax, but they haven't informed us that 350 rupees was paid as house tax from our account. Okay, so in that case, what will happen is that our passbook will show that payment of 350 was made, but cash book will not show that. That means our cash book will show 350 more than our passbook. So in order to equate this balance between the two books, we can deduct this 350 from our cash book to make sure that both passbook and okay, so 350 was deducted from the cash book, and then we have equal balance from cash book and passbook. Now let us see whether our assumptions were correct or not. Okay, see, first let us see how many items do we have in the plus side. Okay, now debit balance, we know that it will be recorded in the plus item. So here it is, debit balance as per cash book rupees 3,72,000. Next item we have on the plus side is point number 2, checks issued to creditors but not yet presented to the bank for payment, that is rupees 72,000. So in here plus item we have 72,000. Okay, then next we have plus item as point number 3, dividend received by the bank but not entered in the cash book, rupees 5,000. So here 5,000 we have in the plus item, add item. Then next we have plus item, last one is interest allowed by bank, rupees 1,250. Now this we have 1,250 in the plus item. Okay, then next let us see, now we don't have any more plus item. Let's see the less items. Checks deposited into bank for collection but not collected by bank up to this date, that means amount is 15,400. So we wrote 15,400 on the credit less item. Okay, the next less item we have checks deposited into bank for collection but not collected, this one we already done. Bank charges rupees 200. Now in particulars you can just write bank charges, okay, as given in the question, bank charges, or you can write this one also, it's up to you, but I will suggest not to write this one, as you can save like 1 or 2 seconds while writing these things. Okay, so 200 we have in the negative minus item. Then next we have a check deposited into bank was dishonored, 320. So check deposited into bank but dishonored, 320. Then next we have bank paid house tax on our behalf, rupees 350. You can write payment of house tax by bank on our behalf, 350. Now after adding all the plus items and minus items, we have plus items more than our minus items. So that means when plus is more, that means we have to write exact opposite of this debit balance as per cash balance, cash book, and opposite of this will be credit balance as per passbook, rupees 4,33,980. Okay, this is how you're supposed to prepare bank reconciliation statement. Now let us see next illustration number 3. On 30th June, on 30th June 2016, the bank column of Anil's cash book showed a balance of 8,250. Now they haven't mentioned whether it is debit balance or cash balance, so we will assume that it is a debit balance of cash book. Okay, now next now since we know that it is a debit balance of cash book, it will come in the plus item. Okay, now let us see the transactions. Out of total checks amounting to 8,000 issued, checks amounting to 5,800 have been presented for payment up to 30 June 2016. That means, wait, that means we issued some checks worth rupees, altogether worth rupees 8,000. Okay, but out of that only 5,800 amount of checks were withdrawn from our bank account. That means the person to whom we gave check, they only withdrawn, or they only collected 5,800. The remaining amount, that is 8,000 minus 5,800, was not yet collected from our bank account. So in cash book we wrote that we paid 8,000, but in actual and according to our passbook we paid only 5,800. So that means the remaining amount is showing more in our cash book. So that more amount, what we have to do is that we have to add in our cash book, so that the balance of our cash book comes up and it will equate with our passbook. Okay, the next is, out of total checks amounting to 6,000 sent to bank for collection, checks of rupees 4,100 were credited in bank passbook up to 30th June 2016. That means we had some checks worth rupees 6,000. Okay, we were supposed to receive 6,000, but we received only 4,100 from bank. That means our cash book is showing that we received 6,000, but actually we received only 4,100. So the remaining amount, that is 1,900, was not actually received by us, but our cash book is showing that we already received that amount also. So in order to equate cash book and passbook, what we will do is that we will deduct that 1,900 from our cash book. Okay, then next is, on 28th June a customer deposited 3,500 direct in the bank account, but it was entered only in passbook. That means we received 3,500 according to passbook. So that means our passbook is showing 3,500 more balance than cash book. So what we will do is that we will simply just add this 3,500 in our cash book, and we will have the balances equal balances. Okay. The next we have, debit side of Anil's cash book or bank column has been overcast by 100. That means in Anil, he had some he prepared cash book, okay, and it is showing debit balance by overcast by 100, means it is showing more, 100 more was showing. So that means, wait, now see, debit side of Anil's cash book or bank column has been overcast, means in Anil's cash book debit side was showing 100 more. That means, wait, here. Oh, sorry, this Anil's cash book is nothing but imagine yourself as Anil. Okay, in our cash book, I got little bit confused. Okay, who was Anil in that? So Anil, we have prepared, imagine that our firm is Anil's firm. Okay, and in our cash book the debit side, or means bank column, is showing 100 more. Okay, so 100 more means our cash book is showing more balance than passbook, and that amount is nothing but 100. So in order to equate, means in order to make cash book's balance and passbook's balance equal, what we have to do is that we have to just minus this 100, because cash book is showing more. Okay, overcast is nothing but showing more. Okay, so we have to write it in the minus item. The next is, no entry has been made in the cash book for the rent of 800 paid by bankers according to Anil's standing instructions. Means Anil, he already gave instruction to his bank that 800 should be paid monthly rent, monthly or yearly, we don't know, but he already gave instruction to his bank that to pay rent of rupees 800. So it was not recorded in cash book, so we have to deduct this payment of 800 from our cash book. Okay, now the last point is saying that the passbook showed a credit of 320 for interest. Means passbook is showing that we received 320 as interest, and 40 was deducted as bank charges. Now this was not recorded in the cash book. So interest we received according to passbook, that means we have to add this in our passbook, cash book. Okay, then again 40 was deducted from our bank account, that means again passbook was deducted, so in cash book also we have to deduct it. Now let us see. Plus items, how many we have? We have this one, 8,000 in the plus side. 8,000 minus 5,800, that is 2,200. Then next we have plus item, this 3,500. Then next plus item we have this 320, here 320. Then minus item we have point number 2, 6,000 minus 4,100, that is 1,900. Then next we have minus item here 100. Then next we have rupees 800, and last 40. So 40. Now after adding both the columns, we can see that both plus item is showing more amount than minus item. So what we will do is that we will write opposite of this one, balance as per. In case of cash book, passbook will come, and in case of debit it will be written as credit. Okay, now here is the explanation. Since in the question they haven't mentioned whether the balance shown as per cash book was debit or credit, so we are going to imagine it as a debit balance. Okay, now let us see illustration number 4. Now from the following particulars prepare bank reconciliation statement as on December 31st 2019. Now debit balance as per cash book, it will come in the plus side. Okay, in the plus column. Then a check for 500 issued in favor of Karan has not been presented for payment. Means we issued a check to Karan, that means in cash book it is already showing that we paid 500 to Karan, but in passbook it is not showing that. So what we will do is that in order to equate the balance of both the books, what we have to do is that we have to add this 500, payment of 500, we have to cancel it from our cash book. Okay, and cancelling it means that we have to write in the plus item. The next is a bill for 700 retired by bank on our behalf under a rebate of 20. The full amount of the bill was credited in cash book. Means wait. A bill for 700 means we were supposed to pay 700. Okay, we had a bill of 700, we paid it, and then we got a rebate. That you can imagine rebate as nothing but discount. Okay, we paid 700 but we got a return of rupees 20, and in passbook we paid only 680. Okay, because we got rebate of 20 back. So 700 minus 20 is 680. We actually paid 680 according to passbook, but according to cash book we paid 700. So the difference amount, that is 20, will be recorded, is showing extra in our cash book. So what we will do is that we will deduct from our cash book. Okay, we paid 680. We will write in the plus item. Yes, we will write it in the plus items. Means we are showing that we paid 700, but actually we paid 680. So in order to equate that, we have to add 20 back in our cash book. Okay, the next is a check for 295 deposited in bank has been dishonored. Means we deposited a check worth rupees 295, then in cash book is showing that we already deposited, we got our 295. Okay, but it was actually dishonored, so it is showing more in our cash book, so we have to deduct in our cash book. So 295 will come in the minus side. The next is a sum of 800 deposited in the bank has been credited as 80 in the passbook. That means we actually deposited 800, but in the passbook it was written as 80. So our cash book is showing more balance than our passbook. So what we have to do is that the remaining amount, that is 800 minus 80, that is 720, we have to deduct from our cash book. Okay, the next is payment side of cash book has been undercast by 200. That means our payment side of our cash book is showing 200 less of payment. Okay, but our passbook is showing more, so that means we have to write it in the minus side so that both our passbook and cash book will be equal. Then next we have a bill receivable for 1000 discounted with the bank in November 2090, dishonored on 31st December, but the dishonored was not recorded in the cash book. Now within the bracket you just have to ignore this one. Okay, you just remember that we were supposed to receive 1000, and according to our cash book it is showing that we received 1000, but actually it was dishonored, we didn't receive anything. So cash book is showing 1000 more, so we have to deduct this one. Okay, so when we deduct 1000 from our cash book, our passbook and cash book balance will show equal amount. Okay, now after writing all these things here, you can see we have plus column is more than minus column, so opposite of this one will be credit balance as per passbook. Okay, now let us see the last illustration of this particular point. Okay, on 30th June 2019, the cash book of MS Ram and Sham showed a balance of 4000 at bank. That means according to passbook. Okay, they had sent checks amounting to 20,000 to the bank. Now they haven't given all the transactions in point wise, so we have to see each and every sentence. Okay, now at the starting let us see the balance. The balance is showing then 4000 at bank. That means it is according to passbook. So when we say favorable balance as per cash book, it is nothing but debit balance as per cash book. Okay, but when we take favorable balance as per passbook, it means credit balance as per passbook. So in the answer we will write sorry, little bit mistake. The cash book of Ms. Ram showed a bank balance of 4000 at bank. That means the cash book is showing debit balance of 4000. Okay, so sorry, that was my mistake. Okay, now after writing this, let's see the next sentence. They had sent checks amounting to 20,000 to the bank before 30th June, but it appears from the passbook that checks worth only 8,000 had been credited before the date. Means we actually sent 20,000 worth of check, but we received in our bank account only 8,000. The remaining 12,000 we didn't receive. So that means our cash book is showing 12,000 more than our passbook. So what we have to do is that we have to simply deduct this 12,000 from our cash book. Okay, we have to write it in the minus item. Then next, similarly, out of checks of 10,000 issued during the month of June, checks for 500 were presented and paid in July. That means we issued some check. Okay, we gave check worth rupees 10,000 to someone, but only 500 were taken out from our bank account. That means our cash book is showing that we paid 10,000, but we actually paid 500. So the remaining 9,500, our cash book is showing less than our passbook. So what we will do is that we will add that 9,500 in our cash book. Okay, the next are some points given according to the passbook. Okay, our passbook is showing some payments, so all the payments which passbook is showing was not recorded in cash book. So what we will do is that payments were already made. Okay, and in that case our passbook is showing less amount than our cash book. So in order to equate both the balances, what we have to do is that we have to simply just deduct these payments from our cash book as well. So this 640 we have to deduct, then 4,000 also we have to deduct. Okay, the next let us see the bank passbook. Wait. Oh wait, sorry, we have to prepare bank reconciliation as per or as on 30th June. Okay, so before that, check one. Okay, now the check one, they had sent checks amounting to rupees 20,000 to the bank before 30th June, but had been credited before that date. So this one is correct. Okay, similarly, out of checks 10,000 issued during the month of June, means we issued 10,000 but 500 were taken out from our bank account in July. Okay, so what we have to do is that we have to add this 500, not the difference. Okay, we have to add 500 in our cash book. Here 500. Okay, be careful. Then next, let us see. The passbook showed that the bank had collected 1,200 as interest on government securities. So passbook is showing that we received. That means in cash book also we have to show that we have received. So that means we have to add this one. Then bank had charged interest 100. Okay, means they deducted 100 from our bank. So we have to deduct this from our cash book. Then bank charges 40 also. Then again this one will be minus. So there was no entry in the cash book for payments or interest, etc. Now let us see. Now we have 3 items on the plus side, that is debit balance, then checks, and then interest. Then again we have 4 items on the minus sign. Now in this question you can see that our minus side, minus column is more than our debit plus item. So in that case what we will do is that we will write opposite of book, that is we took cash book in starting, we will write passbook at the end. But since minus side is more, we cannot write credit balance as per passbook, because credit balance as per passbook is favorable balance, but here we got minus item more, that means it is unfavorable, and unfavorable balance as per passbook means overdraft balance, that is debit. Okay, so that is why when we get minus items more, then we have to write opposite of book but same as debit or credit balance. Okay, now these 5 questions were related with point number 1. Point number 1 means debit, when we have debit balance as per cash book at the starting. So I hope you have understood these problems, and in our next session we will start second point of doing bank reconciliation statement. Okay, for this session we will wind up here. Thank you.